Are you nervous to come on this podcast and just
Clearly, I'm nervous.
Yeah.
Very clearly, I'm nervous.
What?
I'm not intimidated by many, but you walk into a room and the air just leaves. The air is just taken away. My breath is taken away. You know, I'm being sarcastic, but I'm over here shaking.
Oh, baby, I'll hold your hand.
Nah.
I'll hold your hand. Oh, you're so cute.
That's funny.
You're so cute.
No, I'm kidding.
Hi, my name is Shanse, and welcome to Selfish Parenting, the podcast that gives you permission to be, well, a little selfish while raising incredible children. This is where we are going to flip everything you've been told about parenting upside down. Have a seat, relax, and enjoy the show, y'all. Well, hello, guys. Welcome to Selfish Parenting, the podcast that gives you permission to center yourself while raising incredible kids. I'm your host, Shanse Hindir-lane, and today, you guys, we have a very special guest. Today, we are bringing you guys Mr. Julien Lane himself, my husband, the father of my 20 kids, 420, same thing. And, you know, without further ado, Mr. Julien Lane, welcome to Selfish Parenting. How are you feeling?
Wonderful. Happy to be here amongst such elite company.
Do not make me blush this whole recording, I swear.
There it is.
The reason I wanted to have Mr. Lane himself on this podcast is because he really is the man that has been not only a huge part of redefining parenting for me, but also a huge part of redefining what it means to be a provider in 2025. And on today's episode, we're going to talk about the evolution of fatherhood, why emotional presence matters as much as financial presence. We're going to get deep into the nitty-gritty, what it means to be a provider in the year 2025, what it means to be emotionally present, what it means to be, well, a partner, and who better to do it with than, well, the one I do it with. Partnership, that is, of course. Yeah, that.
Yeah, amongst other things.
Amongst other things. Well, no, let's get right into it.
Let's get down.
We get asked this all the time, and I feel like I would be at this service if I didn't at least tell you guys how we met. In 2014, so we've been together for about 11 years now, and we met at a pageant. I was competing at the pageant. He was modeling at the pageant. He was walking. It was about 50 of us, and there was about 9 or so male models there. And their
Probably
job,
less than that.
Right, their job was to walk us down the stairs. So he had to walk me down, leave, go walk the next person down. And
we just needed to make sure that there was no trip.
Exactly. They didn't want the girls tripping on the fancy stairs. And the pageant director kind of like put us together, and he believes in love at first sight, or at first voice, at first sight. I believe in, he fine as hell, you know? What am I supposed to do? I'm just a girl. But that was 11 years ago. It feels like yesterday. It feels like 14, doesn't matter. We've been married for 8 years, almost, well, we're 9, almost.
Going on 9.
We've been married going on 9 years now, and we have 4 little humans. So we've gone through a lot of lives together, a lot of stages together, from, you know, dating to marriage to parents with kids. And I feel like with every single stage, we learn something new about each other. And honestly, I don't know our favorite stages, but I think this might be close to our favorite stage right now.
Yeah, it's tough because as much as I would say the dating phase, like in the beginning, is the you know, because we did a little long distance in between.
Yeah, we did a long
distance.
Beginning. We did a lot. We traveled. We had a
but
time.
as much as I would say that that's the best phase, like this phase right now, we're doing some stuff like.
Yeah, we do. Yeah,
we're having a time.
I think it's that familiarity, though. Like, we've had all these years to get to know each other, what we like, what we don't like.
But see, that's the one thing, though. It's like, I'm not going to stop learning you. Like, there's always new things for me to, find out. Not to mention, over the years, you've changed. You're not the same person you were 11 years ago. You know what I'm saying? So there's some new experiences that you didn't even know you were going to, like in the middle of there that, I have to adjust to. And I also have to, make sure that you enjoy those fresh new experiences yourself.
Yeah.
My wife.
Period. Don't be cute. I plan on asking these men some very hard questions, and let's get right into them. Okay? This is not all fun. This is not all fun and games. This is serious stuff.
It's always fun and games.
All right, Mr. Lane.
Yes.
One of the things that I've been honestly thinking about a lot over the last few years is the evolution of fatherhood in how society sees it, but also in the fathers that we have today, right? Because one thing I say often is millennial dads are different, right? These
Very.
dads are different. For the first time ever, we have fathers that are more involved in their children's life. We have fathers that are showing up more. And I want to just get into the understanding, because obviously you've been a dad for what, 6 years now?
Yeah.
And what I want to know is,
Yeah, it's a go 6.
yeah, when you first became a dad, what was your idea of providing?
I think I've always had the sense of, like, obviously, versus what the generations before us and those, and obviously the 70s and 80s, where it was just a financial thing. I've always been a little bit different. I mean, there was, maybe it was because, some of the things in my previous childhood, my dad was working, wasn't, maybe not didn't get a chance to attend the recital or something that I was at, and I chose to be different as far as that parent. There's a lot of generational things that we've done that were just there in us growing up, you know what I'm saying? 80s babies. There's a lot of stuff generational there where it's like, we get to the point of we can change that. We just got to be the ones to be able to, to take the initiative and do it. It's not everybody gets stuck in, this was done before, this is the norm. No, it takes a lot to break out of the norm and be different. A lot of criticism, from people who may not understand. From early on, I wanted to be, yes, I wanted to obviously provide for my, family financially, but also like it requires more than that. And it's overwhelmingly evident today, especially in 2025, that it requires so much more than that, emotionally, just mentally, take even myself, the time that I take for myself as far as that makes me a better dad.
So would you say your view have always been the same from the start, or has it changed?
It's been similar from the start, but obviously, it has to be. The adjustments have to be made. Even when it comes to discipline. We had different views on slightly different views on maybe we should discipline them this way, or and that's something. Even if I don't agree with something that we come together and talk about, I've got to take it upon myself and say, is what I'm doing the best for our child, our kids. And even if it's one of those things where I don't agree with and I'm wrong, I gotta roll with that, and I gotta make sure that I adjust, with something outside of what I'm thinking. So yeah, it definitely requires adjustments along the way.
Yeah, I agree.
Every single way.
I think I like what you said is what I'm doing the best for our child, because people think that me and you are always in agreement, which, have you met me? We aren't always in agreement, but we are always in conversation. For example, like, especially when it comes to raising our kids, I'm Congolese, I'm African, he's obviously not. And we've had to come to place and be like he said, is this the best? Or I have to be like, is my way really the best? Because I'm parenting sometimes from a place of like, my parents were too strict, or my parents were too this, or my culture didn't allow me to do this, so my kids can't get an abundance of it. And Julia's coming from a place of like, maybe abundance isn't the right mindset. We are both coming from a place like we want to raise respectful kids. We want to raise kind kids. We agree on the what. Sometimes the how, it differs. And
the execution sometimes
the
is very, very
execution
different.
Differs. And that also comes from like how we were raised. So like he said, we have to come into, is my way the best? And we have to communicate heavily. Like there are times when he'll be like, you know what? If I'm doing something you don't like, we back each other. We are on the same page. And then we have a recap later. And it's like, well, I didn't like that. And it's like, oh, why not? And we talk about it. But truly, like you said, it's not always like we agree. We agree on the end results we want, but sometimes the execution is really tough to be on the same page because of our different backgrounds. So it just requires a lot of conversation. How has your definition of providing changed or shifted over the years?
It's just grown as this is the best way I can just describe it. Providing isn't obviously just for, like we just talked about, providing isn't just for financially, and especially in this day and age, it's, we need infrastructure. Mm-hmm. There has to be like infrastructure. There has to be, like we have to be aligned and united, aligned and united, like we were just talking about. And, there's a lot of generational curses that we're both breaking, mm-hmm. Where that, we're our different backgrounds, kind of, like you said, sometimes they don't agree. It's not just a one-dimensional thing, and understanding that it's, if it's, people think that it, obviously, like we were talking about the whole financial thing, you provide financially, and that's like the biggest thing, but that's not the case. Like that's so linear. You know, I've got to provide for you mentally. I have to worry about your mental health. I have to worry about my mental health. Our kids emotionally, like they're growing up. We're again raising little humans who can't quite regulate any of their emotions yet, and they're learning how to do that. You know, that's a level of providing in itself.
Absolutely.
Because the level of patience that takes, I will fight a toddler. The littlest one.
Yeah. Oh my God, that 3-year-old.
This past trip.
Yo, that dude
on the airplane.
Bro, that little kid is. Actually, you know what? I want to bring up something you said about regulation, and you mentioned the plane, and it really reminded me that when you say providing for them emotionally, I think that's a really solid example to give, like on a day-to-day and how that looks like, because we were on a plane, and I'm a routine person. I work off of routine. When we are out of our routine, I'm out of my depth. I am not okay. I'm dysregulated myself. And these moments tend to be where he has to step up, and essentially he's kind of accommodating for me and the kids. And we're on a plane, and our 3-year-old is acting a goddamn fool. Throwing a fit over. He's tired. We get it.
Over
screaming.
Every little thing, screaming at the top of his lungs.
And I'm sitting
you know
here.
What? And it's a little bit out of character for him to be that.
Because he's really tired.
He's
tired
that
too.
Dramatic.
And also, that's what you said, like knowing that it's out of character. I know all that, but I still can't manage. I'm sitting here like, you know what, sir? I ain't got time for this. And, you know, Julien was just
and mind you, I got Tweedledee and Tweedledum on the other side.
He got the lookalikes on the other side,
the lookalikes on the other side acting the fool, wanting to switch every single program that's on the tablet.
My energy was so elevated that I was matching the toddler's energy. At this point, we're both crying, we're both screaming.
You know what's absolutely funny? It's the most hilarious thing I've ever seen. Is you two going at it. Because literally, it's like two cute people making like cute faces, and it's like, y'all both make the same exact face because he doesn't look like you.
I'm pissed. He's pissed. And I think you just kind of step up and you were just really calm. Like, what's going on? Like, what do you need? I need you to calm down. And it's like...
It's funny because inside I'm like...
Right. But that's the emotional regulation we're talking about. You have a way of like... You have a way of showing up when everything is up here and showing up so leveled that when we see you leveled, it levels us out. It's like you are so when you're leveled.
That takes practice.
That takes practice.
That takes practice.
And good to know. Tell them because I don't know what it is.
It's not. Look, we're talking about the definition of providing and how it's changed over the years. That's one of those things that's forefront. Obviously, me being emotionally intelligent is a forefront of having to teach them how to be emotionally intelligent. Like I can't teach them if my emotions are running around and I'm yelling and screaming and you know what I'm saying, and throwing tables across the room. Like I can't.
Yeah.
Like, because we all know that they're watching. They're sponges. They're watching and they're taking in every piece of information that they can. So imagine if I flip a table when I'm pissed. Like, you know what I'm saying? If I get upset. Too. Yeah, Ezekiel's going to find a reason to flip.
You know what's crazy? You're
talking about... He's going to be like, I can't have no candy?
Right. Flip. Coming from me on my POV, it's always just like, it's so admirable. I
appreciate that. That's so sweet.
No, I'm serious.
That's so sweet.
I am very much in awe every time I am up here and I'm, fighting to...
Funniest thing when you start switching languages. I'm most hilarious.
Fighting for my life.
I don't know whether the laugh would be turned on. It's crazy. Like it's incredible. Like you really got to get her excited to the point where she said, yeah, out of that, and especially like you have a little glass of wine too.
You know what? Get out of my secrets. Now he's sharing all my secrets online. Stop.
Give me a little glass of wine. Matter of fact, we got some wine out here. You lose a little bit.
You do this thing where you're just managing the environment. Like it's very, and again, I guess in my POV, it looks so natural and easy. Like, but you just mentioned that it's not that.
I mean, sometimes it is one of those things where like I'm putting everything aside and understanding that, yeah, he's going to say something to, irk me, or he's going to, I just brush it off.
It's a lot. And it's very much appreciated how you handle it. And I like that you said it's a learning thing. So maybe later I'm going to ask you to share a tip on how you got better at that. So there's a lot of pressure that comes with being a father, obviously, especially being a quote unquote provider in the year 2025. Do you ever feel pressure, whether it's from society, your friends, yourself, to do it all?
Yes. However, I don't really... societal norms really aren't really my thing. My confidence isn't in caring what people think.
Period.
You know what I'm saying? Like, just because you view this as a societal norm doesn't mean that, like I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it because everybody else is doing it. If everybody else jumping over a bridge, I ain't going in that cliff. I'm scared of heights. Especially when it comes to you being my wife. Like, everybody has, how many comments have you gotten? Oh, well, what are you doing? Your husband's doing this. I don't care. Like, okay, well, don't be mad because you ain't getting the same treatment. Like, that's, I pamper mine over here. There's enormous pressure for myself, So the problem is, I won't say a consensus among men, but the all my husband friends, all my father friends, we talk about this on a daily basis where it's like, you want to do it all, you want to be everything. You know what I'm saying? Like, you feel like, if it's one of those, and the problem is, when you want to do it all, you want to be that level of provider, when you fail or when something doesn't go right or doesn't go the way you expect it to, it can be really detrimental. Obviously, we're our own worst critics.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, especially when it comes to, like, I've set this immeasurable bar for myself. Sometimes when it comes to, meeting that, it's detrimental. And even, there's victory in even the smallest loss.
What would be an unattainable bar?
Financially, mentally, like, everything with the kids, all of their schedules, just the entire nine just revolves around me, just taking completely over, like, house, the infrastructure in the house, like the infrastructure where I am at work, infrastructure for our kids, because those are three different things. Work infrastructure, home infrastructure, and kids infrastructure is three different avenues.
You said something. You said all of my dad friends and husband friends, right? You are surrounded by very incredible men, but being an incredible man yourself, it makes sense. But I do want to point out that what you're referring to isn't necessarily like something that is the norm. You're talking about how you're wanting to do it all, but you went and pointed out things that are typically put on the wife. You said, wanting to be the, family, the kids, and this. You're talking about you in your head and how you, work. Those are all things that just naturally fall to you, right? But that's not the norm, because for the norm, it is, if I financially provide, I shouldn't have to think about the family infrastructure and the kid infrastructure.
But again, we're going back to talking about breaking generational curses here. This is not one of those things where it was before. Like, I understand, like, this is 2025. Like, there is a 2-income household. Like, a lot of people respond under that, that are in that situation. Like, you have to be. Having a kid in America?
Yeah. Them kids is expensive.
Having like 4 kids, right? We have 4.
Damn.
Imagine owning a house you can't live in, you can't reap the benefits from, but it's just there taking money out of your pocket
because that's a fact.
Imagine buying a house.
Yeah.
Every single time that you don't see, you can't live in it.
No, I agree. But also,
you can occasionally go over there and water the lawn and make sure it's growing, make sure it stays nice and pretty.
Well, I mean, speaking of it then, right? Speaking of this pressure that there is for you to have all of these infrastructures balance, like, how do you balance, like, being financial provider, emotional provider, physical provider? How do you balance all of it?
I really did have to come to a point of growing in this aspect, because it's, obviously you want to be perfect, but there's perfection in imperfection.
Bars.
You know what I mean? Like, everybody always handles, asks us, how do you handle force? I like to call it, I've said this plenty of times, it's organized chaos.
That's organized chaos.
Like, they're on a schedule, you're on a schedule. I'm mostly on a schedule because I got to be flexible. Yeah. Perfection is there's perfection and imperfection, and understanding that, this didn't get done today, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Like, not being so absolute 100%, and beat myself up because I didn't get one thing done. Like, that, I mean, that also comes to, again, the infrastructure and providing, like, as far as and managing, more so managing the household. Like, I can afford to not get this done today. I can afford to push this off to, maybe 2 days later, or, tomorrow. Or I can wake up early, or I can organize some extra time, later on, to make sure that I wake up and get this done. But that's just the evolution of managing the household. Like, I have to be okay with making the mistakes and understanding that the mistakes are going to make me better.
I want to give a little bit of, insight here.
Mm-hmm.
When Julien is talking about, managing the household, he's really talking about managing the household. We are co-managers in our home. I am not the one that is primarily responsible for managing our household, and neither is he. So I'm saying that because most of the time when these conversations I had, it's in, oh, well, I remind my husband to do this, and then he reminds me to do this, and that. Not to say we're not partners in that way of reminding each other here and there, but it's to say that
I will forget.
We own certain tasks and we own them. There are things that my husband owns 100%, things that I own, and then the ones that we don't own, we gonna outsource every time, honey.
Yeah,
we gonna hire somebody.
That's the
we gonna hire somebody else to do it.
That's again the level of managing is to be able to understand that, hey, we both try to do this and our time is short. Yeah. Like you would think. You got more time when the kids go off to school.
And then you got work.
Nah, you got work and everything around. And then, but before you know it, you got to pick them back up.
Julien is the one that's in charge of hiring all the housekeeping. I have nothing to do with that. People ask me, what do you use? I don't know. Housekeeping is the duty that he owns 100% because he was like, "Ayo, I don't want to spend my Saturday scrubbing a toilet in deep clean."
I really don't.
And I typically own the nannying because I am rigid at interviewing, and he's like, "You're strict."
Yeah, you're very strict. And,
even though that is also done, but let me tell you the interesting part about it. Even though I own it, is like he's in it. I don't interview by myself. We interview together. Mm-hmm. The nannies don't just talk to me. We talk in a group chat together. Housekeeping doesn't just talk to him. They talk to us. So even though he might be the one responsible for it, finding them, making sure they meet our standards, it is still a task, like we are both in it on each other. The way I like to think about it is like someone manages a task and then it's their job to tell the other person what's going on. And that's how it works.
As a manager, you delegate.
Right. He's in charge of, certain doctor stuff, like certain things for our kids. He's in charge of it. But it's also his job to tell me and, pull me in and what's going on. So it's like we own certain things, but managing our household really is that. We are managing this household together because we have 4 kids. Damn. One thing that I think we get asked about all the time is the difference, right? What is the difference between him just financially providing and physically, mentally, and emotionally being there? What benefits is it to our kids? And obviously, I want to know about your benefits for you, for example, just from you. I want to ask you, what are the benefits that you've seen between your relationship with the kids so far, between you and me, of you being present and you being an equal partner and you being an equal manager of our household?
The biggest thing for me is just knowing that I've accomplished the fact of, the goals that I set out with. I set out to be an amazing husband, obviously, set out to be an amazing father, set out to do things that, my father didn't do, break those curses and just, have, like I have little, I hate to talk about my kids, but
no, if it's about
I have little ones that look up to me, you know what I'm saying? And that's just, obviously, if I'm doing what I need to do, it just gives me this indescribable feeling of success. Wow. Mentally, that's a win, obviously, because it's like, I'm valued. I feel, you struck my ego a little bit, you know what I mean? Like I did that, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. I got the baddest joint on the earth.
Period.
In the multiverse.
Period.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. I was gonna say, how about the multiverse? Yeah, good job.
No, but it's definitely like, it makes me want to continue to grow. Like obviously I want to, be better than yesterday, for everyone, including myself. It's opened me up to things that I didn't knew I liked, like, teaching him things about golf and soccer. Like I'm like, damn, this is pretty cool. I need to try this myself. So now, obviously, any over 35, that's the first thing they do is go golf. All I heard was 9:00 tea time. I mean, but it's like, the benefits are being able to experience things also that I didn't experience as a child. I've never been to Disney. Right. I've never been on a cruise. Yeah. That was our first time. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And that was my first time. And you know what I'm saying? Black Panther showed up and showed out. Wakanda forever. The way that I'm parenting and, the way that my kids are looking up to me also allows me to feed the inner kid myself. Wow. You know what I'm saying? And on top of that, like adult money hit different.
It does.
So you can the stuff that you could do, like you were like, damn, I wish I could have done that as a kid. Now I can
because I got the money.
Yeah,
What do you mean?
I got the money. Yeah, I got the bread. Like I'm, you know what I'm saying? I'm spread out, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, what were we thinking about going? Give me the Greece trips.
Oh, my God.
Give me the, you know what I'm saying, the Azul Paradise. Like,
right.
That was for your birthday. You know what I'm saying? And that feeds, obviously, you know, cognitively. That's you know, being able to do that as an adult, to have that level of fun, to still have that level of fun as an adult. That's wonderful.
I love it. Obviously, talking about the benefit of, you know, him being an involved father in our lives, in our day-to-day lives, and the kids, I want to talk about true, hard facts about the benefit of having an involved father in our children's lives. So we're going to be talking about a study done by the Journal of Marriage and Family, tracking over 15,000 children for years, and specifically looking for fathers' involvement. So we're not just talking about fathers involved financially, we're talking about it specifically looking for fathers' involvement beyond financially. The title of the study is Fathers' Involvement in Children's Academic Achievement, and it's evident from Ad Health. So here's what the study found. Children with highly involved fathers, meaning emotionally present, participating in daily activities, score 15% higher on cognitive development tests. Sons showed 35% better emotional regulation. Daughters had 27% higher self-esteem. I want to stop there and just talk about these numbers with you guys. When people talk about having a father who just financially provides, I think a lot of us who are a little bit older maybe had the type of that. I know I did. And, you know, we want to talk about, okay, well, I'm a provider, so I make, what is the word in America? They say bring home the bacon.
Yeah, bring home cheese.
Bring home cheese or whatever. Whatever bacon, right? They're bringing bacon, right?
I cooked the bacon.
There is an actual study telling you that financially providing is not enough. That when you as a father do more than financially provide, not only are you going to increase your children's cognitive, you're going to help your sons with emotional regulation. When we talk about Black boys specifically, the dangers of raising Black boys, and they don't have emotional regulations. Now, again, this is not about me as their mom teaching them emotional regulation. This is about their dad teaching them emotional regulations and how 15% higher development in tests. Right now, we're talking about how Black boys are falling behind on this, and men are struggling to make connection, this and that. Having a present father to essentially, and we're not just talking about a father who is there and not doing the work. We're talking about a father who is providing these skills to them, teaching them these skills to them by showing them these skills is going to essentially improve their lives. Because yes, having emotional regulation skill will improve your life in your workforce, in your dating life, in your relationships. These are things that will improve your life financially, emotionally, spiritually. And you're telling me that the presence of an active father beyond finances can provide your kids with this. I mean, why are we still questioning the importance of it? You know? And I want to talk about daughters, right? Your daughters have a 27% higher self-esteem increase. Do you know the type of things they won't settle for? Hello? And truly, I just want to, and really,
you better not on my watch.
The effects are so significant. And the best part is this is a controlled study, which means it completely took away the amount of money these dads bring in. It was really just focused on their presence. And this makes me want to really ask you, what do you think about this research? How does that make you feel just listening to these numbers?
100% accurate.
Yeah.
Absolutely 100%. And I think that, to be honest, I think those numbers might be a little low. Like that's just out of the study that he did, 15,000 families? You increase that, I guarantee the percentage might be a little bit better. It really highlights how important that role is.
You said active dad. Can I ask you to clarify the difference between just having a man in the house who is a father to the kids versus an active dad?
It looks like the effort of actually wanting to be a dad and wanting to be present, putting forth the effort to make sure that that I'm teaching my sons and my daughters, emotional regulation, teaching them, how to, look at we it's easy to crash out. That's the easy way. You know what I mean? Like it's easy to go out here. You know, somebody, you can crash out in the street. Somebody walk past you and bump you. You crash out in the middle of the street if you don't have any emotional regulation. Learning that and seeing, it's not, again, we're talking about children who it's a sponge for them. It's not just do as I say, which is another generational curse that we were always, growing up with. It's just me personally in the 80s, do as I say, not as I do.
Right.
So if I saw, mommy doing this or daddy doing this, it's like, oh, you can't do that. But I can. And it's like, why?
As an active, involved father, walk me through a day. How are you involved?
First and foremost, I wake up to the most beautiful woman in existence. I get my cuddles and my smacks.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Make sure I, my
you ain't
gotta
give all the details.
My groups and grabs in the morning.
You ain't gotta give all the details.
Ezekiel busts through the door. You know what it looks like? I got the perfect example of what it looks like. Ezekiel is at the point where he's like, I want to be a dad.
Yeah.
But to me, it's like there's nothing on this planet where he's not like, if there's any problem that surfaces, he's gonna be like, my daddy gonna fix it. Like literally, I am Mr. Fix-It universe. Like it's mommy not feeling well or going through something. Man, let me go get your husband. Literally, he will tell you that. Mommy, you're not feeling well? Hold on, I'm gonna go get your husband.
Literally. If I'm on my period. When I'm on my period, he'll be like, Daddy, mommy's on her period. Do you have the flowers?
Chocolates.
Yeah, do you have the chocolates?
There's nothing that he won't say that, it's one of those things. It's daddy will fix it.
Yeah. Do you think this research will surprise other fathers?
The active ones, no. The ones who are just, kind of coming home and like you said, just providing financially, or the ones that are like, oh, well, this is what I hear the most, or I heard the most about these type of dads is, oh, I do enough. There's never enough. You're raising little humans. Like, if it's enough today, it won't be enough tomorrow. It's always one of those things where it's ever changing. My duties, as far as that's concerned, like things that I'm teaching him, it's ever changing. Like, we just talked about him understanding, death.
Yeah.
Like that was not on my bingo card this year.
Nigga, that was mine, sir.
How are you supposed to come into, what I'm saying? So if you're, at the point of, oh, I do enough, and then he comes across with a question like, yeah, why is this person not here no more? Like that's a teaching moment. Like,
and honestly, with that being said, let's talk about what our kids actually learn from watching you. For those who don't know, we have 2 identical twin girls who are now 5.
Identical lookalikes.
Our lookalikes, our little spicy lookalikes.
Copy and paste.
Right. Let's talk about what they learn, right, from watching how you treat me as your wife.
They learn obviously what is acceptable and what is not. Like, and they learn how not only you as my wife, but just simply another human should be treated, especially another woman, another Black woman in this society. We already know that's there's so many things out there about how, it's everywhere. Like, just Black women, y'all going through it. Y'all go through it, and it should not be that way. And I'm going to make sure that they understand that that's not the way that it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Like, there's so much that these kids are presented to or exposed to, exposure.
Yeah.
It's so much that they're exposed to now that we wouldn't have learned about that till later on as we, like preteen, some things.
What would they be like? Specifically, what are they learning? How should they be treated? What's acceptable and what's not acceptable?
What is acceptable, obviously, is how I talk to you.
Yeah, that's hot. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's hot.
I like it. Go on.
You like the D-voice, don't you?
It's doing something to me.
It's doing something. I'm telling you. See, feel a little bit under the weather.
Please, go ahead.
They see me talk to you not only as, obviously, my wife, but my partner. We're equals in this situation. Like, we are partners. There's certain things that you do, certain things that I do. There's never no hierarchy as far as, I'm over you or anything like that. We both have our parts to play, and we switch off those parts.
We sure do. It's cute.
Nah, but they watch how you're treated. They watch your happiness. They see this person that's like overjoyed with happy feelings. We may not think that they're looking at, something as simple as, me giving you flowers or taking them on a date for them to get flowers or taking them to a restaurant to where they're, at this young age. Like, they don't know that that's normal, or supposed to happen. It's our job to instill them that this is how you're supposed to be treated, not only as, someone who, later on in life as you, go and court yourself, but just as a person, like this is where I'm supposed to be happy. Like I'm supposed to be, I have these feelings of happiness. I'm supposed to have, someone that looks at me and thinks joyous things, and nothing in this life is perfect. We don't have a perfect little household. Things go wrong.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And they see that when things go wrong, this is the response that's from it. It's not something that's supposed to be like, we're not physical with each other like that. There's people that are so used to that norm and see that on a daily basis, God forbid, that they'll probably think it's normal. Yeah. It's, as a child growing up, if I see this all the time, it's like, it happens to me and it's like, oh, okay. Yeah. That's what I grew up with, right? That's like,
I mean, speaking of the girlies, let's talk about the boys. What do you think the boys are learning from watching you cook sometimes more than me? Watching you do the dishes.
I definitely cook more than you. You're a seasonal person.
Fine, let's not go
You're
there.
a seasonal cook.
What do you think they're learning from?
Thanksgiving, this is going to be lit because you do the big spread, you know what I'm saying, amongst your usual spread. But then...
You didn't marry me for my cooking. We all know that.
Yeah, I married you for your spread.
I know you did. And we're not talking about Thanksgiving.
No.
We ain't talking about no turkeys. Stop playing.
We ain't talking about no turkeys, even though there's butter involved. Buttering you up like it.
Oh my gosh. No, let me go. Let me ask this again.
I'm sorry.
What do you think our kids are learning, our boys specifically are learning from watching you cook more than me, do the dishes, work, still work, from watching you, be the one that's booking their doctor's appointments, from watching you do the things that typically some people might say consider the mom's job, laundry. You do laundry sometimes more than me. Essentially, there isn't a skill or a thing in our house that I do that you don't do. What do you think they're learning from that?
I mean, first and foremost, before you get to the point of, before we were married, I had to do all that stuff for myself.
Okay, period.
Like I had to clean my house. I had to wash my drawers. You think I was just walking around with stank drawers? Fucking streaks. You think I was walking around with streaks in my drawers?
What is wrong with you?
I'm saying though, like that's it's it's wild. The notion of all of a sudden that ends simply because there's, if anything, it's doubled. You got a second person. You got a second person in the house. Now we got 6 people in the house. It's exponentially more. Like, but that doesn't stop. Like, what do you mean? Like, I just like I'm going to brush my teeth before we met, but now all of a sudden you're responsible for brushing my teeth. And I don't make it make sense. The one I guarantee you, anybody that says that, go and look at their house. Nasty. Roaches living there. They probably dap the roaches and the rats when they come in the building. Hey, what up, dog? Hey, you gonna be paying the rent this month?
I cannot with you.
Nah, bro.
You're just like, yeah, duh. It's supposed to be that way.
I know,
but
it's
I'm
not.
asking
I know
because
that's not the norm. I know it's not the norm. I mean,
it is for us. But the reason I found that it's not the norm.
That's the thing, though. If it's not the norm for you, then you're around the wrong crowd.
Oh.
Because amongst me, all all my friends that are dads and husbands, like that is the norm. I don't know not one friend of mine that ain't out there doing yard work, that ain't in there folding laundry, especially the ones with newborns. Yeah.
You're surrounded by very great men.
I know.
And that's
so change your surroundings.
So I guess that kind of brings me to the question, what is your take on this, masculinity? Like a lot of people would say those are very non-masculine things to do. Like, for example, we are constantly, you specifically are incredible at this. Whenever our kids are crying, making sure they can feel all these emotions. Like
the first answer to that is, and I know you're going to finish your question, but the first answer to that is, who are you to tell me how masculine I am? I know I'm a man.
I know that's
why I need you to tell me something that's masculine.
Okay, period.
Who are you to tell me what's masculine and not? The people that I know, or even myself, having fed into, like maybe a societal norm, it doesn't feel right, especially if it's one of those things where I'm like, I know this should be different. You know what I mean? That's that self-confidence that has to be built over years.
I was going to say, you know what I love about you? I could give you a list, but...
Yeah? Keep going.
No, stop.
Let's go. We got time.
It's your self-worth. Like, you know who you are. You know your values. And they're very unshaking, Not many times do I see you succumb to opinions. And the best example I would give of this was just like we're talking about vasectomies. People often ask me, they were like, oh, how did you convince your husband to get a vasectomy? I didn't convince him to do anything.
You didn't convince me to do anything. We had a problem. It was something that was affecting you. And I said, all right, well, what happens when I do it? What are the consequences if I take this, Because again, it wasn't like we didn't try it your way. We didn't try it. We had a couple of different things. You had the IUD. They told you were too young to get your tube tied, which is
insane. My body, but whatever.
Like, you telling me after 4 kids you can't get?
Truly, it's like one of those things where like politics. No, but one of those things where when I remember people often ask me this too, like, oh, how does your husband feel about sharing something? I'm gonna let you guys in on a little secret. If I'm telling you something on the internet, I talk to him about it first. And the conversation, the idea came from, like, if we had, y'all don't get to hear nothing he didn't know. Sorry.
Yeah. Probably truly, 3 or 4 times before
right. I be yapping with him. You guys, all of my point of views, I am extremely opinionated and especially about certain topics, womanhood, motherhood, fatherhood. And if I'm passionate about a topic, I am talking to him about it. And I'll be like, babe, I'm going to share this. So you can, so he knows. But one of the things I shared was like, my husband got a vasectomy. And there was a lot of men on there that were really upset about it. A lot of women that were like, my husband could never. Like, why would he do that?
But why? That's the thing. Why? If you can't ask yourself why that this is the problem and you haven't actually gone and looked it up and done the research, then you're just ignorant.
Yeah, but babe, when you say research, I need you to clarify. You and
actual research, not going on social media and seeing a bunch of guys be like, I would never do this, man. You got, you know what I'm saying? You got 2 left balls. Trust me, I'm busting way more than I was before. Way more. Like, that's not a thing. They still work. Very well. Yeah, more efficient, actually.
They do.
Yeah.
You have always been very sure of yourself. You have self-awareness. You know who you are. You're strong in your beliefs. And they're not easily shaken, but you also surround yourself with people with similar beliefs. And for
change your surroundings.
Right, but for those who are, let's say, maybe struggling with succumbing to societal norms or pressures or what they're hearing, like, what should they do? Change what they're hearing?
Again, change your surroundings. I had to eliminate my entire surroundings growing up.
Yeah.
In my 20s, I was, I wasn't never against it, but I was just like, not for me.
Yeah.
But also, I was with a group of people, individuals that was just like, nah, they ain't, the norm, norm. Like, nah, and I wasn't as strong in, what I'm saying, and like, I don't want to do that because of, whatever else. But then I was, then I asked myself, why? Why is this particular thing is so negative? And then when, and then when I asked the people that I'm surrounded with, I never got an answer. Mm-hmm. Obviously, confidence, is something that you've got to develop on your own and grow into. But I'm, like you said, I'm at the point of being unwavering when it comes to that. So it's also the effort of figuring out and, and intentionality. That's the word I was looking for.
We talked a lot about all the incredible things you do.
I'm not perfect, I promise. I have very much a lot of flaws.
I don't know.
Very much so.
Pretty close.
I'm not perfect.
I want to ask you, how are you? How do you take care of your mental health? Being that, your forefront of your mind is always your family, providing for them this and that. Like, how is your mental health and how do you take care of it? What are your selfish habits?
I have learned to take a minute for myself, because again, me being in that space of wanting to be everything and being, I personally, like, it's easy to get consumed with. If I can't meet that bar, obviously I'm down on myself. So the first thing obviously is going back to what I was saying before, understanding that, I don't need to be perfect. Chasing perfection isn't necessarily the key, but attaining your goals, implementing that plan and adjusting to the changes. Absolutely. One of those changes is obviously taking time for myself. I got to give you, props where props is due. You've been monumental in understanding when I need time and encouraging me to take the time that I need. She bought me golf lessons and you gave me the space to be able to go and do that, to take that time. And between that and obviously I'm still doing music, at least at the house. And the other thing, and I was kind of with this before, especially when you were, gung-ho because you body's tea. So it's definitely evidence. But
how does having those things, having friends and having those people you talk to, how does that affect, how does that help you be selfish? How is that part of your selfish rituals?
Well, obviously, I have to take the time. Obviously, the time that I'm taking away, then that's less time that you're going to have, less time that the kids are going to have. But it's essential because when I come back to them, just like I give you the time where I send you on momcations, when I come back refreshed, and I come back calm, and I come back, energized. It's a boost. It's a revitalization. Like you're like, oh, I can do this now.
What is something good you're reading right now that's been good for your mental health?
What's the Fair Play?
Yeah.
That book.
Yeah, Fair Play.
Obviously, it's about we're working on dividing and making sure that we work as a partnership. That's the end goal, and that's the ultimate thing is.
Yeah.
Ultimate
For those
goal
who
is.
don't know what Fair Play is, that Fair Play, we actually currently are in couples therapy. Backstory: we are coming up on our 10th year wedding anniversary. And Julien thought it would be a good idea before we do our vow renewal wedding, big white vow renewal wedding, for us to just have a little refresher away from just like a yearly therapy session or something, or individual therapy, to do like a couples counseling session, couples therapy session. And he went in, he found a therapist, he was in charge of it, he books it, and it's been fantastic. A lot of the times there's a lot of shifts in our lives where maybe I pick up a contract or my content creating, or I'm picking up new journeys. And right now we are in that moment of shift where obviously I'm doing a podcast.
You're kind of busy bee.
My career
and
is
fabulous
just
at
a
it
little
all.
busy right now. And when this happens, we tend to go back to like our home and how we manage it. And we go back to the book Fair Play. Our therapist was like, that's a great one too. But they have cards now. The first time we did it was just a book, but now they have cards where we look at our household chores and we divide them. And it helps you essentially understand all of the different chores, the mental load of everything. And he talks about owning the mental load. And
it also encourages you to take a break.
Yeah, it does. It encourages you to take a break, have time for yourself. So if you guys, are maybe struggling with finding ways to divide, we'll talk about a little bit more tips later on, but that's one of them we'll definitely have to cover. So that is Fair Play. What would you say is the importance of fathers getting rest, and not just sleep, rest, recharging, having downtime, and really prioritizing that rest? And how does that affect your kids? What would you say is the importance of watching or telling Ezekiel that daddy needs rest, daddy needs sleep, or daddy needs downtime, daddy's mental health matters?
It's critical, I would say. Again, when you want to be the forefront in doing everything, it's easy to get burnt out.
Yeah.
If I get burnt out, I'm no help to anyone.
Yeah.
Not even just myself. Like, I'm no help to you, the kid. Like, he's looking at me, and again, as a sponge, how do I react when, I'm upset? Or how do I react when I'm tired and I'm drained or I'm frustrated? Plenty of times recently, he'll say, you know what? I'm frustrated. I need to go to my room. Yeah. I'm going to take a minute. I'm like, all right. You know what, Daddy? You're frustrating me. Yeah. I'm going to go upstairs.
You're not filling up my bucket. That's his new one.
That's his new one. That's definitely his new one.
He has a joy bucket and a happiness bucket.
Yeah.
And when you do something he doesn't like,
he'll be like, you're not filling up
my bucket.
I'm going to take a step. I'm going to take a step away and, go gather myself, because you're not it at the moment. But it's easy to be, the same thing goes for you though. It's easy to be burnt out, and that's the problem, is because you're out of character when you're burnt out. You're snappy. You're like, it's like the levels there are cortisol. What is it? Cortisol or dopamine? Like, you're off. You're off, and you would be very blind if you thought that your kids don't notice when you're off.
They do.
Your partner doesn't know when you're off.
I be knowing everything.
Yeah, Inspector Gadget over here. But again, it's very, very detrimental as far as, like we're talking about people that watch everything.
Yeah.
So how I'm reacting and why I'm reacting that way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He looks and goes accordingly.
One of the things I absolutely hate is when people say, my husband is helping me with something. Or when people say, my husband is babysitting the kids.
That grinds my gears.
Right. It grinds. Right. I often talk about how it upsets me when I go on vacation and people say, oh my God, who's watching the kids? Or when people see me out and they're like, oh my gosh, where are the kids? The dog is watching them. Like, what the hell did you think?
Daddy.
I had him alone, right?
Right, they daddy.
So what I want to ask you, for you personally, what makes you feel like an equal partner and not just a babysitter or someone watching the kids or someone helping in the household?
I don't particularly feel that way, but it doesn't stop people from suggesting or society from, because I get it all the time.
Right.
When I take the girls out, I'll take them to a bouncy house or something. I'll take them to the indoor playground, and literally, like, I'll have people like, your daughter's over there. I'm like, yeah, and my sons are over there. Like, why are you trying to help me? I know what my kids are. Like, I own my own version of what that, obviously, we, come together and figure out how we're going to do this together. What works from your end, what works from my end, and what we are going to agree on. But at the same time, like, get out, go, go hang out with some friends, go to RH. You said this once early on, and it kind of resonated with me as far as that's concerned. Like, the goal of parenting is, to have our kids in a situation where either one of us could leave, and it doesn't change. Yeah, it's it's going to be uniform if I go to work. It's going to be uniform if you go to work. It's going to be uniform if I leave. And go out of town. You leave out of town. Nothing for them. They're not going to know. You know what I'm saying? The schedule is going to be the same. Like, the dinner's still going to be there. They ain't going to be eating no wish sandwiches.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the but owning that, you know what I'm saying, and making sure that I do my part, and because obviously you're an amazing mother, which is a little bit of pressure in itself, because I have to mimic you but also be different. Like, I have to be what you are as a mom on a dad's side, but I also have to be different, because there's certain things that, what I'm saying, that they can get over on you that they can't get over on me, and vice versa. You know what I mean? So it's like we have to mirror each other. Yeah. But making sure that is uniform. Yeah. Across the board.
Essentially, we have to be uniform while doing it in our own way.
Yeah.
Speaking of being a good father, this brings us to our hot take segment. Now, y'all know every week we have a hot take segment. And this week, I have one hot take for you. I'm going to ask you something, and I want to hear your hot take on this. And the hot take is, paternity leave should be mandatory, not optional, because when dads don't take it, it reinforces that childcare is a woman's job. What is your take on that?
There's obviously a lot of truth in that statement. It's very, very true. And I wholeheartedly believe, I think in Canada they do that.
Yeah, Canada's have.
Yeah, Canada has paternity leave for the fathers, which is vital, because you, especially with a woman being postpartum, like, there's so much going on there that needs to be handled in itself. Like, your mental health, like, everything about that is, we're still learning about the dangers of postpartum depression, and for you to, in the United States, it's what, 6 fucking weeks? Yeah. That's just criminal. Yeah. That is just criminal, Like, I think you had 12 because of the C-section?
Yeah, just 12.
And even then, I don't even think we used all of it then, because it was
took off. Yeah, I just was going to quit. It was
right.
Because
it's like,
but that's an option we had. Not everybody has that option of just becoming a
it
stay-at-home
should
mom.
be, you know what I'm saying? And like you said, it's like the statement says, we did this together, so I need to do my part. And it is sad to say, but there's other places where that is the norm, and you can see the benefit instantly. Absolutely. I don't have all the stuff, like, especially after having a baby. I don't go through that. Yeah. I don't go through any of it. Like, there's dramatic changes that happens in your body. That's happened 3 times. 3 times. 3.5.
Right, twins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll give it a half. Like, I couldn't even imagine. Like, I'm not even in the point of thinking. Like, I'm not even in the point of pushing the baby up. Yeah. Like, that's, bruh. You talking about I'm got pushing the 9-pound watermelon out my ass? Absolutely not. Yeah. Like, absolutely not.
So obviously, one thing I love to do is give homework. It wouldn't be me if that wasn't the case. But I want to just take a moment to give you guys 5 things you can take away from everything Julien said. For that, I would say one thing that I got from you was own your routine or your daily routine completely. So if you're a dad listening to this and you're thinking, how can I be more involved in my children's life? Take a routine and own it completely, and let's start there. Another thing is, schedule your own rest 100% and protect it. It is up to you to make sure that you are well taken care of, and advocate for yourself for that rest, because you too deserve rest. Learn about the mental load without being asking. We talked about this a lot, and one of the things that could help you do that is the book Fair Play. If you're a dad listening to this and you bring up the book to your wife, let us know how that goes. Another thing we learned about is, have emotional check-in with your kids. You talked about, being the one to check in with Zakel emotionally.
That is important.
Have those check-ins with your kids as well as a dad and make them very meaningful and very mindful and maybe fun.
That is important. Let me jump into that, because that is important on a couple of different levels. You're teaching your kids that I can come talk to mom and dad. How many times, especially when they get to the point of being teenagers, where it's like, oh, I can't talk to my mom about this, or I can't talk to my dad about this. Like, if you start early on and you're opening the door of saying, oh, there's nothing I can't go to my mom and dad to talk about, even if it's one of those things where they might be upset about it, I know that I can at least have a base conversation to see about where we're at with this. You know what I'm saying? Like, that we can start the conversation.
That really brings me to number 5, where it's like, talk about your own mental health out loud. They learn from what you do. So you as a dad, talking about how you're feeling, where you are, we're talking about you saying, I'm frustrated, or I'm feeling this, and that kind of, going on, trickling down to our son, being able to name those feelings and emotion. You can also make sure that those are things you're doing out loud. And for moms listening today, don't think I left you out. You too have some homework. Have the conversation with your partner. If you are with someone and you don't feel like they are providing you the equal partnership you deserve, get comfortable. Have the small talks, but let's make it fun. I think our therapist was like, go to Burns and Nobles, grab a coffee and have those hard conversations in a very soft environment, in a happy environment, if I may. If I was a dad right now in a stage of my life where I'm struggling with fatherhood, with my mental health, and with being a husband, what is one thing you would tell them? And just one.
You can't do it on your own. You have to communicate with your partner. We have plenty of times where I tell you straight up, hey, babe, I'm not good right now.
Yeah.
I need you to step in so that I can step away. Yeah. May only be a few minutes. Yeah. Like even this morning, getting the kids ready for school. I'm just like, babe, I need you to step in.
Got bubble guts.
Running back and forth to the bathroom, like running like what?
Hey.
I'm like, damn.
Right.
Like I woke up on that and I was like, all right, damn, babe, I need you.
Right.
But just communicating that and make sure it's not, one of those things. It's, you're already frustrated. You're already, taking that mental load on. Like you're already mentally just, you're not there. You need to, make sure that you don't come across as like aggressive or, what I'm saying? I don't want to say aggressive, but, more just, aggressive. Like, because otherwise, even if you're crying out for help and your tone is wrong, you're not going to it's not going to be received well. It's going to turn into a big argument.
There's my favorite book. It's called Voices Are For, or something. Voices Are Not For Yelling. It's a kid's book, and I gotta find it.
Yeah. Voices Are Not For Yelling.
One of the quotes that he says when it essentially goes like, if you're screaming, then all the person hears is your screaming and not your words. So use your words, right? Use your inside voice so we can hear what you're saying and not just your screaming or your tone.
And don't get me wrong, that's incredibly difficult to do at times, depending on the situation, But especially when you're talking to your kids.
Yeah.
I mean,
you just have to be softer.
You have to be a little softer.
This is your natural voice, and sometimes you have to even be softer, even though you're just naturally speaking.
Yeah. I've definitely been accused of, saying as far as my voice is concerned,
our kid's gonna be like, Daddy.
Yeah.
Mind you, he's speaking just like this.
Like, mind you, you do that too. You be like, yo, you're yelling. I'm like, what?
You know me. You speak to me nice. I like a nice, soft.
I can't whisper in your ear all the time.
Yeah, that's what I like. But anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
No, okay.
Yeah, you like to get buttered up, me on, what I'm saying, me step closer. You know what? This
baby girl.
This is for me as well. I learn something every time I come in. We have conversations about specific things. So now we'll take a different approach. Even if I'm saying, all right, well, talking to you with the voice that I think is, this is tone. Your feedback is right there. That ain't the tone I want to hear. I've got to take it upon myself to accept that feedback and not be defensive about it and adjust, So it's very difficult to do. Obviously, it takes a lot of practice, but you do it right, you might get some esteemed results.
You know what? Get out of here. No. Seriously,
Some
you guys.
steamy results. Dude.
Really, we could probably sit here all day and yap with you guys, but
Who
unfortunately,
couldn't yap with you?
right.
Just look at you. Who
See what I
couldn't?
mean?
Who couldn't yap?
See what I mean? Here's what I want everyone to remember from today's episode. Modern providing doesn't just mean a man bringing home the bacon, okay? It means fathers being not only emotionally but physically available and present in their kids' lives. It is so important for both parents to not only show up for kids on the most important days, but to show up for the kids every day. And research backs it. When fathers are not only physically present, emotionally present, and also financially present, the kids benefit from it the most. Fathers should absolutely prioritize their mental health, and obviously it plays a big part in how they show up for their family. Yeah. As a husband, you are so loved, you are so wanted, and I'm not just speaking to you.
It's great to hear.
Obviously, but I'm speaking in general. Like for us who have these incredible husbands, okay, I want you guys to know you're valued, you're loved, you are needed, and more than that, you are an imperative part of our kids' health, of our kids' mental health, of our kids' physical health, and apparently our kids' future. Mm-hmm. So we not only need you out working, but we need you in the house being present and being here and being the loving man that you all are. And when you are here, just know we can't do this without you. We absolutely can't do this without you. We need y'all. But I don't need no man. But I need you.
Lying like a mom.
Right?
No,
but honestly, if this episode gave you a new perspective on modern fatherhood, share it with another father who you think might need to hear this, or a mother who you think, will share it with your partner. This is for everyone, whether you have kids or not. It's good to listen to this and just get a perspective. And as always, follow me on all the Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Substack, and the name is always going to be hindir-lane. And until next time, remember, kids need your presence as much as they need your paycheck. And this is Selfish Parenting. I am your host, Shansei. I look forward to seeing you on the next episode. And don't forget to comment, like, and share. We always love hearing from you. Mr. Lane, thank you so much for coming to Selfish Parenting. It was a pleasure.
The pleasure was all mine.
Usually it's mine, but I'll see you at home.
Let's go.
Hey!